Okay, Nasir, thank you for joining us. Sports Dev Series. Thank you so much. I know you're busy with the NFF, and I really appreciate your time. Um, Most people don't know what the Chief Technical Officer for the NFF does. So I think we can start there. If you feel free to just please share what it is you do for the NFF and how it impacts football in the country.
Yeah, well, okay. Being the chief technical officer of Nigerian Football Federation means automatically that I worked in the technical department of Nigerian Football Federation. But that apart, the fact that I'm a thorough sports professional football administrator, there are other areas too that are not necessarily technical that I deal with. Like I run the transfer matching system of Nigerian Football Federation. I run the club licenses of Nigerian Football Federation. I work in the office of the president of Nigerian Football Federation, and then I'm the chief technical officer of Nigerian Football Federation. Chief technical officer is more involved with the technical parts of the administration because even in the administration there's technical. The technical part of administration deals with players, deals with especially coaches. Uh, the technical department is in charge of appointment of coaches, not necessarily in charge, but we scrutinize documentations when coaches, when the federation is employing coaches, we scrutinize the documentations, their credentials. We make the short list, and then it is up to the executive board of the NFF to choose who they want to. When Nigeria, when we play matches, irrespective of which category, under 17, under 15, 20, 23, the senior national teams, both male and females, we go to matches with them. It doesn't necessarily have to be me. Anybody in the technical department can be sent. We used to be about 5 or 6, but unfortunately for now, I am the only person because the others uh, one was on contract and the contract has expired. It has not been renewed. 2 or 3 of them retired because they are civil servants and they've reached the age of retirement and we've really missed them. So for now, I'm the only person, but the federation is making efforts at employing more officers for the technical department. We go to matches, we have the coaches, we get information ahead of time, like I know a few of us can read the matches using numbers. Know what it means to read matches using numbers, statistics. When you don't have to see a team to know the strength of a team, we do that and then we give our reports to the coaches and then it gives the coaches some leeway, a little, not a lot, but in football matches, something really minute, very small can make the difference. So basically, that's what we do in technical department of preparation.
Fantastic. So, and from what you said, I have a lot of questions have come to my head. But one of the key things, the last piece of what you said is you go and scout future teams that, for instance, the Super Eagles might need to play. People from your department go and watch the games and evaluate them, and then share the information with the, in this case, it would be General Rohr or the technical director. Am I correct?
Yes, you're correct. But we don't necessarily have to go to any match. Some of the matches that we know we cannot get the tapes, yes, they send people out to go and do this scouting, watch the teams and come and report. But most of the matches, we have them on TV, we have them recorded. We go over them again and again and again because you know how it is. No matter how you watch a match, no matter how many times you watch a match, every time you watch, you will see something different. Every time you
Yeah.
watch, you will see. Yeah, so we have some of the matches on tape and we watch them over and over again. And then we just give our suggestions and advices to whichever team of fish, whichever team is engaged, involved with the game. If it is the under 17, we talk to the coaches of the under 17. If it is the under 20, whatever. Gernot Rohr already have his own scouts and on his team he also have his analysts and all. But yet, when we think we have something that might be of use to them, we communicate and we give them the information.
Wow. So, and does this apply to the Falcons as well? Do you also, does your
Yes,
department also? Okay.
yes, it's
And
gone across all the national teams. all the national teams, male or female, irrespective of the ages.
No, absolutely, and that's interesting. So, usually, so even if for the youth games, when you watch these games, you identify things, you share with the coaches, and those that information that you shared with the coaches, they usually help the coaches in trying to come up with a strategy for beating that team in qualify. And this applies to qualifiers as well as World Cups, right?
Yes. Qualifiers tournaments, both qualifiers for African Cup of Nations for all the youth, for all the categories, and the World Cup, all of them. And especially in the qualifiers of the junior teams, the under 17, not most of the matches are shown on TV. And you hardly even know the players on these teams, because most of the players on under 17 teams, as soon as that period has gone, those 2 years or those 20 months within which they do the qualifiers and the African Cup and the World Cup, that group of players are phased out, because most of them would have been over 17 then. So it's important that we in technical departments now get to know these teams, like find a way to get their tapes. Well, with me, it has always been quite easy for us too now, because there are a lot of websites where we can go and watch the matches live, record them or stream them and watch them. But most of the time, the coaches will not have the opportunities that we have to do this. I wake up sometimes 1 a.m., 2 a.m. to watch these matches, record these matches, and then share the information that I have, both formally and informally, with the coaches. Most of the coaches on the national teams we are like family, we are like friends with all of them. So if we see anything, we talk to each other. We talk over the phone, or when we see each other, or we come to their trainings, we tell them this is what we've seen. And most of the time, they take us seriously, and it helps.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really commendable work that you do in helping them prepare for matches. So, in terms of coaches and coaching development, does your department also handle the licensure and licensing of coaches in Nigeria?
Yes.
And yeah, how does that process
Yes.
work?
Yes, we do. But for a while now, for like a year or 18 months, we have not been able to have any of these coaching courses. One, for one reason, the COVID, and then before the COVID, we have had some issues, because we have not done the A license category. We have not done 1 or 2. We have skipped 1 or 2 of the B licenses, and then suddenly the COVID. So for the last 12 to 18 months, we have not done anything. But yes, our department is also responsible for that. And right now, we've been talking to FIFA, like FIFA and CAF. They've been talking to us anyway. They've been talking to the technical departments about coaching programs, about what we do, how we do them, and how we do them before. About changes that we want, and changes that they think we should have in the process, in the general procedure of the coaching courses we have had before. For one, I think the duration of the courses before now, you have, like, let's say the CAPC license. You come to Abuja, we stay here for 2 weeks, and then we do some theory in the class, and then some practicals, and after 2 weeks we give certificates. Come on, C license should do a lot beyond that. I don't think 2 weeks is enough, but that's what is on the program schedule. So we proposed, and we've talked to CAP about that. We've talked to the FIFA technical department about this, and they agree totally that they think 2 weeks is not enough. But then, if 2 weeks is not enough, you will probably need maybe a minimum of 4 weeks. Where will you be? Who is going to finance these programs? Keeping the coaches for 4 weeks, or telling the coaches to take their own responsibilities of coming to Abuja, staying in the hostel for 4 weeks it's a bit hard. So in the last workshop, I spoke with our coordinator, the FIFA CAP coordinator for the TDs, because we don't have a technical director right now. I am not holding forth for the technical director, but because I am the person in the technical department now, I attend these meetings, these online meetings. I now discuss with him at length, and I asked him if we can enter into partnership with coaches associations, with institutes that offer coaching courses for football, as long as their syllabus and the scheme of work is rich. I think there is no harm in entering into partnership with them and allowing their own lecturers or their own teachers to be the ones, the instructors to be the ones to handle the coaching courses, and in the end, the licenses will be in the name of Nigerian Football Federation. I don't think it is a bad idea, and I already spoken verbally with the General Secretary about this, and I will soon propose it to him in writing, and once he accepts, we will now send our proposal to CAF, and then if he accepts, there are a lot of like the coaches union. Yeah, I know FCAA, the one with the doctor from the US. These are all organizations that we can enter into partnership with and reduce a lot the stress. The volume of work that we have to do. We can just do the administration, just look after the course, organize the courses, and then they take care of running the courses for us because they have already have qualified instructors. So very soon, we'll have innovations like that.
Yeah, that should help with the situation. But would this organization also help with the practical aspect, like you mentioned, actually going out on the field and teaching from a practical standpoint?
Yes, definitely. It's the organizations I'm talking about. We are not talking about like universities or colleges. No, we are talking about like specific institutions that offer coaching courses.
I see.
And especially for football. So definitely, the institution that is dedicated to coaching football will definitely have the practicals. You will have instructors who will be responsible and who will be capable enough to run practical issues.
Okay. Is it possible to roll out, and that's a really good idea, Nasir, but is it possible to roll out that particular strategy through the state FAs? Because the state FAs, if for instance you have coaches in Abuja or Kano or Kaduna, they don't have to necessarily come to Abuja. If their state FAs can implement the the training mechanism and framework within those states, then those coaches could get trained and not have to pay for the travel. And what are your thoughts about that?
I agree completely. I agree that you can do that, and but then we have to start somewhere. We have to start with what we are planning now, with having this relationship with outside institutions that are not directly responsible for the coaching courses. But now, if we enter into an agreement or partnership with them and it works, at national level, let's see it at national level how we can handle it. Then eventually we can let it sleep and get into to go to the state levels. Yes, I think it's really a good idea.
Yeah, because that's always been my I've worked with a lot of different levels of football in Nigeria. I've worked with academies, amateur teams, nationwide league, national league, Premier League. And one thing I've always wondered is, how is the standardization of the coaching quality maintained across all those different levels? So sometimes you go to the amateur or an academy level, and the guy's like, oh, I'm the coach for this team, and I can have a conversation for 5 minutes and know that okay, these boys they're not being taught the proper way. I know you're familiar about this. What are your thoughts on how we can try to resolve something like that, to make sure that even a young player in Sokoto or Zamfara or even Calabar or Cross River State that needs to develop himself is getting quality coaching?
Yeah, can get the quality coaching and know the basics. You know, when we have coaches who knows all the basics, well, that is the more reason why I think it is really important now that when we enter into this partnership with different organizations, that we should be able to start at national level. Of course, naturally, we want it to go to the state level, like you said. But when we start at national level with general syllabus that everybody is going to use, whether you are coming from Calabar, from Sokoto, whether the instructor is from America or he is from Nigeria or he is from Ghana, but the syllabus, what is going to be taught to everyone is the same and is controlled by the Federation Technical Department. I think that is what we really need to do to help. And then again, you know, these academies and Nigeria, Boma, we know how it is. It's really unbelievable. You have,
yeah.
I know when I was a kid that my coaches never had any formal coaching education.
Yeah.
I know. But I know that things were different then and now. Now football is really huge. You know, it's a big business. So you have football and footballers everywhere in all the nooks and crannies of the country. And then you have the number of academies, the number of clubs, the number of grassroots clubs springing up every day is alarming. You know, like I tell you that Nigeria alone, the clubs that we have registered on the TMS in Nigeria are close to 300.
Wow.
In Nigeria, yes. And of these 300, I am telling you that 270 something are grassroots amateur clubs. Yeah. So no matter how much you think you can plan, especially with the situation in Nigeria, it is going to be really, really, really hard to have at every level to have like really qualified coaches doing this. I know. But I know also the technical department. I know the president has spoken with the chairman of the technical committee, and I know the general secretary has spoken to me about it, and I know the vice president, who is the chairman of the youth committee of football committee in the Nigeria Corporation, are all talking about us streamlining the whole academy situations in Nigeria. Like, we want to come up with conditions and prerequisites that you must fulfill before you can establish an academy or a grassroots club. What is, Boma, it is really funny when anybody just walk up to you and say, I own an academy. Come on, you own an academy. You own an academy. Okay, what is just interpret. Just tell me, what do you think an academy? What is an academy? It's not an academy. They will tell you now that it is just the small club, the junior club where you have the younger guys playing and then you take them to grassroots clubs or you take them to Premier League clubs. That is what they think an academy is.
Yeah.
They don't even think about like it is an institution supposed to be one that will streamline and educate the players as they go. But education in terms of academics, we're talking about academics, and then the football itself. No, it is not so. I watched one video that went viral in Nigeria of somebody beating a player on an academy. And then we made our own investigation and we found out that these guys are not actually academies. They are players who are 23, 24, 25 on those teams. And they are in an academy. And they do not offer them any form of academic training at all. Yes. So we are going to look at all this. I know it is going to be hard. I know it is going to be really hard. It's going to be really rough. But as far as I'm concerned, I think we just must grit our teeth and just do this. We just have to do this. We just have to come out with the conditions. We don't even have to come out with anything. It is very clear what an academy is. So if you don't fulfill those very basic necessities of the needs for an academy, you cannot be registered in Nigeria. You shouldn't be registered in Nigeria as an academy, really. If you call yourself a grassroots club or you call yourself an amateur club, fine. We have no problems with that. Yeah.
No, you bring up a very good point, and that was actually the next point I wanted to bring up is the prerequisites and the standardization and making sure that before you become an academy, you have to establish and meet a certain criteria. You know, you just, like, you're right, you're absolutely 100% correct. You just can't put up a tent and say you have an academy and there's no guarantee what the players are being taught. There's no guarantee that they're furthering their academic pursuits, you know, these sort of things. So, you know, and Nigeria has, I think, 776 local government areas. Am I correct?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, you know, you have that challenge of 776 locations that, if in some kind of way there is a system that can be built into all those 776 locations, where the coaches and the individuals there have to, one, get licensed. If you say you're a coach, then you must get licensed, and you must have the basic level of education from a coaching standpoint, right? These are things I've seen. Like, I'm licensed under the US Federation, and what I've seen there is, you know, they try to make sure that all the coaches across the board have that basic level if you want to say you're a coach to do players. Another thing they do, and I don't even know if this is possible in Nigeria, but is that they generate revenue through coaches acquiring their license. So coaches pay to acquire the license,
Yeah.
and that some of that money goes to the federation. So it's one of actually the areas they used to generate revenue. Coaches, referees, and the like. I'm not even sure if that's feasible in Nigeria, but I wanted to mention that to you as well.
Well, I understand that. Is really sometimes you really don't want to say things like this. Really, you know, they pay also here. They pay to come for the coaching courses, but what they pay, man, is really minimal. It's not something that will even run their stay in the school, in the hostel, and their feeding and everything, and equipping them and buying equipment to use and stuff like that. What they are paying is not going to pay 50% of that. But we still complain. They still
Wow.
complain. They still complain, number one, Boma, that it is too much. This is Nigeria for you. They complain that it is too much. And the same guys, you see, people will come to the coaching course. By the time they are done with C-license coaching courses, they go back home. They have not even taught. They don't even coach in academies or in youth teams or on grassroots teams or anything. What they want is to coach the national teams of Nigeria. Oh man, this is not funny. had I have one of the guys working in the department with me. He is right now in an office. Now he is putting together all the applications that we have. I know of the applications that we have over 150 applications there. I am telling you, Boma, 110 to 120 of the coaches, the applications we have there, have not coached even grassroots teams.
Wow.
Of Nigeria. Just because we said, okay, that you have to come and have C license is the minimum you can have to coach maybe an amateur team, C license. So they come for the C license and they get the C license and suddenly, oh, we are qualified to coach the junior team from Nigeria. For my, it's crazy here, really, I tell you.
Well, let me ask you this. So what's the process for a coach that wants to become national team, whether it's U17, U20, for the men or even the women's teams? What's that process like?
Yeah, well, like what you have right now, we don't have coaches for any of the national team except the Super Eagles.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but they've advertised these positions long ago, and we've been having applications. We've been receiving applications. That's why I'm telling you that one of the guys I work with is in the office right now, doing harnessing them and putting them together. Normally, when these positions are open, we advertise them and tell people to send in their applications. So people send in their applications. Like you have, for the under 17, maybe you have 50 people, 50 different coaches, all who want to coach the under 17 of Nigeria. and then the under 20 you have maybe 70, and this is how it is. But then when they come, like I said before, it is our responsibility in the technical department to sift through them and pick those that fulfill the basic requirements that we want for coaches, for coaching any of the national teams. Like if you have the basic requirements, and mind you that the under 17 will be different from the under 20, the under 20 will be different from the main national team. So if you have the basics for the under 17 and you apply it for the under 20, we step you down to the under 17. We step the application. We don't necessarily say that because we step you down, you are going to get the job of the under 17. No. What we are saying now, we step it down because we think that the basic requirements needed for the under 20, you don't have it. So we bring it. If you fulfill that of the under 17, we bring it to the under 17. And that's how we do it for all of them. When we are done with this, then we write a report to say, okay, we have 10 applications for the position of the head coach of the 17. We have 10 or 2 or 12 for the 20 and so on. That's what we do. We present it to the technical committee, and the technical committee will sit over it and brainstorm over it, and then decide who they think is right to be given the post. They will propose that to the executive committee of the Nigerian Football Federation, and if the executive committee of the Nigerian Football Federation agrees, so be it. But this time around, it's a little different because some of these positions will be filled using the format that I just mentioned. But some of these positions will actually be. I think they have hired a consulting company, was Philips Consulting Company, who are going to be responsible for making analysis and shortlisting of candidates for certain positions. I know the position of the compliance officer of the NFF, the position of the marketing officer of the NFF, the position of the Super Falcons coach, and one other, about 4 of them. So the Philips Consulting Company will be responsible for those things. But the others will go through the same process that I just explained to you.
I see. Now I noticed that for sometimes, of course, we all know for Super Eagles, we consider foreign coaches. Do foreign coaches also apply for our youth men's teams, U17 or U20?
Yes. Surprisingly, this year I think I've had about 6 or 7 foreigners applying for the junior teams, applying to coach our junior teams to under 17 especially. About 6 or 7. Yeah.
Really? Is that a possibility, or do we tend to just focus on the Nigerian nationals for those jobs?
For me, I really don't. My own opinion is this: I think the junior national teams should be handled strictly by Nigerians. As long as we have Nigerians, we also have. Even if you're talking about people with European qualifications, we have Nigerians who are based in Europe who have played and have coached in Europe and who are interested and they can get it. So for me, that's just my personal opinion that this should be strictly for Nigerian coaches. And I think so far that is how it is.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you are there situations where you identify certain coaches, Nigerian coaches that are maybe coaching in Europe doing exceptionally well, and then your department might approach them? I think there's a recent example of a coach, I've forgotten his name. I think he was coaching in Albania or something. Yeah.
He was my teammate when we played in Julius Berger.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we are actually quite close. Yes, we identify them, but the truth is this, Boma, if you are coaching in Europe, right now you're coaching in Europe and you're doing well in Europe, the amount of money you get paid in Europe, you will not be able to afford probably 50% of that. That's the truth. That's the truth. We probably will not be able to afford 50% of that. So very few of them will agree to abandon what they are doing in Europe and then come back to Nigeria and take up the jobs here. That's the truth. But yes, of course, we identify them and we sometimes we talk to them, even if informally. You talk to them to see if maybe there will be possibilities. Like
Yeah.
I just, Indibusego is a friend. We chat on LinkedIn, we chat on WhatsApp with him, we exchange pleasantries and all, and we wish each other luck. But I really don't think it is time. I think it will come now. I really don't think so.
That's interesting. So, how are you coping with? Of course, this is COVID. This we're in 2020. Next year, you're meant to have youth championships, if I'm not mistaken, right? Next year is where you have the U20 and U17 World Cups.
Yeah, but the calendar, definitely the calendar will get a little tweet from FIFA and from CAF.
Mm-hmm.
It has been, yeah, it has been. And, it is going to be the same. The situation is the same. The conditions are the same for everyone. Everywhere in the world is to train with the players and all. Nobody is in a position now to put the players in camp, not especially in Africa. So like everyone, we are struggling. Like everyone, we hope this thing will be over. Like everyone, we are waiting for like our own government to allow footballing activities, contact sports to start, and then we bring these guys to come. But yes, 2021, there are tournaments that are scheduled by both FIFA and CAF, and if they are still going to be on schedule, we like every other African country, will struggle to go for the qualifiers. So I think it is a level playing ground. Nobody has an advantage over this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So most of the people that are going to watch this aren't familiar with the transfer matching system, especially as it relates to being rolled out in Nigeria. Can you help educate us a little bit about what that
Okay.
is and how it will work in Nigeria? I know you had mentioned all the clubs that have come to register. I'm somewhat familiar with it, but then of course, you work in that department, so
Well,
um,
the transfer matching system, simply like it says, is transfer matching system. That means a situation where when two clubs are involved in the transfer of a player. One club identifies a player and says, we need this player, or we want to buy this player from the other club. And the other club, probably they talk to each other and they accept that, okay, you can transfer that, you can take the player and sell the player to you. The transfer matching system simply means that information the two different clubs will enter into a waveline real-time site, which is accessible to the two clubs, to the Football Association, and to FIFA. For them to enter information about the transfer, say that I am engaging a player, so player from Kano Pillars, is being engaged by Arsenal. And then Kano Pillars will enter the same details to say that our player, so person, is being engaged by Arsenal. They enter the terms and conditions agreed between them, the transfer agreement between the two of them. Each of them will enter the same information. By the time they finish entering this information, when this information matched, it is now called it is now a transfer matching system. Now it has matured. In using the transfer matching system, the federation, all the federations, the MS have absolutely almost no part to play in the transfers. Everything is done by the clubs. The only time the federation or the MS are concerned with the transfer is when it comes to issuing an international transfer certificate, ITC. You know what an ITC is?
yes.
But yes, and a lot of people think like, okay, without an ITC, sometimes we don't even have to issue an ITC. Even if we don't issue an ITC, once the transfer is matched, properly matched, the two clubs enter the details and the details are matched. Whether we like it or not, number one, we have to just verify and confirm the player, just to check on the system to see that the information entered by the club engaging or the club releasing the player, information entered is the information of that player to confirm that that player is registered in our association. That's all we have to do. By the time we are done with that, the association that is engaging the player will not request the ITC from Nigerian Football Federation. And whether we like it or we don't like it, after a week after the request for the ITC and we don't deliver the ITC, FIFA will automatically give them the opportunity to provisionally register the player. And after 1 year, if nobody complains about the registration, provisional registration, it becomes permanent. Now, most of the time, people mistakes normally our participation in the TMS as in it is we who are responsible for the transfers of the players. No, not the federation. We are not. We have absolutely nothing to do with it. An ITC is what we deliver at the end of a transfer. You know, that is the last part of the transfer, which deliver the ITC. An ITC is just a certificate to show that a player has moved from one federation to another federation. A player can play without an ITC because FIFA can give you provisional clearance. So once a player has moved from one country to another to play his football in, it is an obligation for the country he is living to issue the ITC. And if you don't, after 1 week, FIFA gives the ITC. So transfer matching system is a platform that helps both clubs, and especially clubs in Africa, to be able to track the movement of the players, and especially their players. Once they move from one club to another, you know, all you do is go to the TMS, click, if you have a TMS account, click on users, click on a player, type the name of player, and you'll see the player. You'll see his ID, you'll see which country he is playing for, he is playing in, you'll see which club he is playing for. And if you don't know about the movement or about the transfer, and he has played for you, there's also what is called the player passport. This shows the history, the records of all the clubs the player has played for. So once you have that, and in that player, in that IPP, the name of their club is on the IPP to show that the player has played for your club. You use the IPP and you can claim solidarity mechanism and training compensation. You can claim that on your player who has played for your team like 12 years ago, 20 years ago, as long as he is still playing, he hasn't quit playing football, you can at least claim solidarity, you can get something out of it. So people are a lot of, at the beginning, I know now they are beginning to understand, they are beginning to get more educated, especially in Nigeria, about the importance of having a TMS account. But they thought if they have a TMS account, no, the Nigerian Football Federation is going to control them, is going to tell them what to do and what not to do. It is actually now when you have a TMS account that you will be able to tell yourself what to do and what not to do. Or you will be able to tell the NFF that, no, I can't do this and I can't do that. So TMS is simply a very simplified wave-based site introduced by FIFA started in 2007, yes, and then it became mandatory in 2010. So for 13 years now, TMS has been with us, and I think in Nigeria now it is getting really, really popular. Already in Nigeria we have the DTMS. Well, in any case, DTMS, whether we have it before or not, now it is mandatory. That even locally you cannot transfer a player unless you use the TMS.
Yeah, no, that it's a very good development. I think, there have been a lot of issues surrounding players, tracking their players, playing history to be able to play solidarity contribution or even training. And I think, does the TMS system determine the category of a club that the player is coming from? So, because, according to FIFA, the training compensation is paid dependent on the category of the club, and most African clubs are put in category 4.
Not much. It depends on your country. Like in Nigeria, we have category 2, 3, and 4. So we categorize our own clubs to be category 2 is the Premier League, only the clubs that play in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Category 3 are clubs that play in the second professional league, that is the NNL, and the Women Premier League. Those are in category 3. And then category 4 the grassroots teams, the academies, the amateur teams. That's how we categorize our clubs. But it is not
Okay.
the TMS. It is not the TMS that determines for you category of your clubs. It is the federation that determines which club is in this category and which club is in this category. And in the case of Nigeria, Premier League is in category 2. The National League, the National Pro League, and the Premier Women League, Professional League is category 3. And then the amateur, the grassroots, and all others are category 4 clubs.
I see. That's very good. That's very good. So with a lot of these academies in Nigeria, I can just imagine the challenges one would face trying to make sure that they're all synced. If a player comes out from Nigeria that a club likes and he's supposedly registered to some academy, and the academy is not registered in the TMS, and then you have a couple of clubs saying, "Oh, this guy is my player." This one is saying is my player. He plays for my club, and the European club is like, "Okay, we want this guy." But you have 2 or 3 clubs asking for training compensation. How do you resolve? how do you how do you resolve that kind of issue?
That's what's been killing me now. It's difficult. It's crazy. I tell you. Well, now I've resolved that this is what I do. That at the end of the day, if a player is transferred to a club and they need his player passport, because when we are issuing an ITC, we are supposed to issue an ITC with the IPP, the player passport. So I get the player, I get the club that is transferring him overseas, the releasing club. I get the releasing club to give me the history of the player. They can tell me he plays for 1 club or 2 clubs or 3 clubs. And then I form the IPP. Once I do the IPP, I will send it to them, a draft copy of it, and I'll tell them to give it to the player, for the player to sign and thumbprint and confirm to me this information is true of his playing history while in Nigeria. So this is the only thing I can do now, because FIFA also says that if we can't determine exactly their clubs, we can talk to the players. So this is the only thing I do. But Boma, this is not helping. You get the players leaving, and you get the club that is releasing them, telling them that, look, if you tell NFF that you played for 3 or 4 clubs, that will be an issue for you. So they will tell us that he played for only 1 or 2 clubs, and then we put the 1 or 2 clubs and they ask for the years, and they tell us the years, and we do the draft passport, and you send it to this guy. He signs it. We return it to you. You put it on a letterhead and upload it on the transfer on the TMS. 1 month later, you have somebody coming with pictures to support that player has actually played for him. You will have somebody coming with licenses. Boma is my greatest headache. It's the biggest headache in Nigeria right now.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can only imagine.
We are lucky. We are lucky the FIFA connected. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope latest by the end of this year we'll start using the FIFA Connect, where we'll be able to register every single player from the age of 10, 11, 12. So if you have an academy, no matter how small your academy is, you have to come and register your players. If you don't register your players tomorrow, you cannot come and tell us that he played for you, or you bring pictures or anything, we're not going to take it. If you have a player from the age of 10, you should come to the federation and register them on the FIFA Connect. And once we have them on the FIFA Connect, we'll be able to know and track their movements. Every time a player moves from one place to another place, even if academy or anything, every year where he moved to, the new academy must come to Nigeria, to the NFF, and inform us that they have acquired so player. We check the ID of the player, and if he is from another academy, he was from another academy, then we now remove him from the other academy and move him to the new academy. Well, he's an amateur player, so he can move at any time he chooses. So we just move that. But now we have information. But as long as you don't have this information, you don't have your player on the FIFA Connect, you cannot come to us for any player passport. But Boma, this is, I've already been accused of so many things in Nigeria. About the player. I've been told oh my goodness. It's funny, but when you work in Nigerian football, you only work in Nigerian Football Federation, you really must develop a very thick skin. Otherwise, you'll never be able to work.
Wow, wow. No, it's well, and the work you're doing is very commendable. I think, I know the issues that come around from these sort of things, and having some sort of organization will solve so many problems. But you're right, there's some people that don't want to, for one reason or the other, they don't want to fit into an organized system. They'll rather prefer to work in the chaos, and yeah, because the chaos benefits them. That's what it comes out to. Yeah, so but I think the work that you are doing with everything, the TMS, the coaching certification, these sort of things can change the face and the future of a country's football, because it determines the type of players you produce. It determines the type of coaches. There are some countries out there that they literally export coaches constantly, and there's a reason for that. So, I commend you on your work. I think it's fantastic. I have one final question for you. Is is the TMS system, is it live? Is it something that someone like myself can go online and go into to see, or is it only restricted to certain people that have registered there?
Yeah, it's only restricted to clubs, associations, and FIFA.
Okay,
If you are not a club, if you don't own a club or you don't run a club, you cannot have access to the game. It's
I see.
basically it's basically confidential. It is where
Okay,
between clubs, information only known to clubs between themselves in transfers is stored.
okay, okay.
And public.
Yeah, so it would make sense. So pretty much, if you're a club and you're not registered on there, you can't go on there. You have to register literally on there to be able to. I see. I see. No, Nasir, thank you so much. I know you have to go for prayers, and I really, really, really appreciate your time. Maybe we can do this again. I can schedule a longer session because I have so many questions to ask. But
Definitely, we should do this, Boma, again. We should do this. Don't forget around the club licenses. We've not talked about the club licenses.
yes, we haven't even
Yes,
talked about the club
no, we
license.
will do that.
We definitely need to. I'll take a look at your calendar, maybe in a couple, weeks, couple of months, and see when you have more time and we'll be able to talk. Thank you again. I really
Yes,
appreciate it.
thank you very much. It's my pleasure, really. Thank you. Thank you too.
Okay. All the best, man.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye.